The last lecture I set up routing. Now I want to improve this, and I want to make sure that when I click on continue in that modal here on the order summary, that I actually load a different route. Now it's the purchase continued handler here, which is interesting. That is the handler which gets fired when I click continue. Right now this is where I set loading to true and where I then place my order and send it to the web. I will comment all this code out because I no longer want to store it on Firebase immediately here. I want to go to the checkout component instead. Now, as you learned, since Burger Builder is part of the routable area of our project, we have access to the match location and history props. I can prove this by adding console log this props in component did mount. If we have a look, we see the props with history, location, and match. Now, by the way, since in here we also use a couple of components like the burger component, just in case you're wondering, do we also have access to these props here? Let's simply log props in the burger function, in the burger component. There you see we only have the ingredients. We don't have access to match and so on there, because whilst this is of course part of the routable area, burger is not loaded through a route object. Only Burger Builder is. Burger Builder is loaded through this route, and everything which is loaded through a route, but only the direct component, so only Burger Builder itself, gets these special props. Components nested inside Burger Builder don't get them. We would have to pass them on manually. There is a way we could still get the props in the burger component too though. And this really is a bit advanced and not something we need here, but I want to show it nonetheless. Let me reintroduce that log statement to see the props, and we saw that we don't have the match and history thing. If we use a special higher order component provided by React Router DOM, we can actually kind of inject or make them available. Inject these special props in any component. The higher order component is named with router, and if we wrap our export with it, so like this with router burger here, if I now save this, now you see that in the router we also have match location and history, and match will refer to the nearest match. So to the nearest route which was matched in the past. In this case, the route which matched the Burger Builder. This is something I also wanted to share with you. We will use it later again when we really need it. Just wanted to show this little trick. If you ever need direct access to match history and location, and you don't want to manually pass it on from the top level component, you can use with router. I did mention this in the routing section already. Well, back to our original task. In the Burger Builder component, in the method which gets executed when we click continue, there I of course have access to this props. History is one of these special props provided by the router, and there we have this push prop which allows us to basically switch the page and push a new page onto that stack of pages. So now here I can simply say that I want to go to /checkout. If we save this, let's see what happens if I start building my burger here and I click order now and I click continue. Now I'm on the checkout page. I get an error because the click listeners aren't hooked up yet, but besides that, it's working. Now, I won't connect this checkout navigation link here because I'm going to replace it with a my orders link soon anyways. So that's something I won't do here. But the next step I want to do is let's add more functionality so that when we click cancel here, we actually are taken back. We go back to the Burger Builder. Whilst when clicking continue, we show a form where we can enter some data. This is what I want to build next.